Hi. Okay. So it's August 4th, 2022, and you're watching the Philippine Market Update. So we are doing this every week. If this is your first time, please like and subscribe. Let's discuss the Philippine market, the most important news, and where the prices are for the day. So let's take a look at it. Let's look at the screens here. All right. So look first in the index. Index is still 6,449 points. So it's still well above 6,000. You had a rally and continuously until today. Market value is 2.85 billion pesos. You've got 96 advancers, 72 decliners. You've got a slew of companies actually going up. Pure Gold 4% up, Ayala Corp 2.6% up. Let's take a look at your index pricing. Ayala Corp is now trading near 700 at 686. PLDT is 1753, ICT 187, Mondes 1532, Pure Gold is trading near 32 pesos, BDO is 118, Meralco's 315, Jollibee's 212, Security Banks 82, SM Prime's 37, Ayala Land 26, Emperador 19, Aboitiz Power 32.35, Asen 863, GT Cap 452, Mega World 235, AGI 9.63, Wilcon 28.45, MPI 364, Aboitiz Equity Ventures 59, Luciatan Group 8.65, Metrobank 48.9, BPI 92.9, Converge 20, Globe 2060, Robinson's Land 17.6, San Miguel Corporation 103, URC 124, JG Summit 55, SM 790. So you can see that the biggest movers are still primarily your index plays with Ayala Corp and SM. Let's take a look at those two lifting the markets higher. Okay, so AC or Ayala Corporation has since rebounded from about as low as 584 towards 685 in just a few weeks. So you can see that that is a super strong rally. Some people might have thought that 600 areas was a bottom and continuously going up. Nonetheless, there is a lot of resistances here at about 705 and 711. Do be careful as we think that this rally is short-lived and can extend all the way down yet again or retest back towards 600. So as it's rallying, these are potential resistances to take note of. 700 pesos towards 750 pesos for Ayala Corp. Let's take a look at your SM. It's now near back to about 900, hindi pa pala, 800. So it's 780. So it hasn't rallied yet to 900. But if the market overall, like Ayala Corp, has been seen to rally, then you can see some people would assume that a short-term index rally coupled with Nasdaq sentiment going up due to the weeks past of good numbers or relatively beating estimates, making the market overall rally for a short term. Short term meaning maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe less than a month. So SM can rally back towards 840 or 850. You can see that this is still a downtrend, but nonetheless, you're seeing quite a lot of buyers come in as they're seeing a potential of a bear market rally in the very short term. Okay, so what else are we seeing? We're seeing Pure Gold rallying here. So Pure Gold has since rebounded after a slump of 28 pesos. It's now trading 31.60. We argue that this is still cheap, but then again, your resistances are still hovering here at 34 and 37. But it is still a cheap company nonetheless. So if you have Pure Gold, look to be an entry even at 31 areas. 31.50s is still cheap. Let's take a look at what's been happening. Okay, so your Monde has rallied all the way straight to 15. So you can see that it negated the bears who were bearish on the two fronts, no, inflation and a potential drop on sales owing to the safety guidelines that there was an issue supposedly. Nonetheless, even if it has rallied, still a lot of resistances here. 1530, can it rally towards 16 or 17? Even so, lots of trading range opportunities here. If you have it, I would say it's still more of a sell. So I am still not convinced that inflation is past us, and not convinced about the rhetoric that inflation has peaked, even if oil has dropped sharply from 120 towards $90, and that's something that the bulls have been trying to pin upon on their bullish take. Let's take a look at what else has been rallying so far. We've seen URC rally already towards 125s. So in the past, we've seen 125 as a resistance area. It's doing 123, 125 here. Lots of people might actually choose to sell after these strong moves. So careful on the strength of some names like your consumer manufacturing. Nonetheless, it is also seen here that higher lows are apparent, where people who are of the view that inflation might have peaked would be buyers somewhere here at 110 and 100 pesos. So it's a tug of war, and so far the bulls are still winning, and the shorts still hurting. Well, in the Philippines you can't really short, but you can see that worldwide there continues to be a lot of shorts that are getting hurt with the massive rally in the markets. So it's still a bear bull scenario, choppy scenario for most of the bulls and the bears. And that's what you're seeing here with your PSCI. Your PSCI looks to be in a choppy formation with the bulls carrying through, powering up here to about 6.5, could even rally towards 6.6, brought about by resumption of a lot of sales, not slowing down despite high inflation. That has been the recurring theme, that the reopening recovery is larger and stronger, that basically people continue to spend. So in that case, we are trading within a choppy range. We could extend to 6.6, but 6.6 is still a resistance to be aware of. What have been the big numbers that have released in the market? Metro Bank and Wilcon. So let's read those two. Wilcon reported a billion pesos of profit, which made it rally straight from about 22 to 28. Well, you do have resistance on pure on Wilcon here at 30 pesos. So maybe the good news could be priced in here at 30. So those who got in early are supposed to, in my view, take profit somewhere here at 30 pesos. We got the good news on Metro Bank. Let's read through those numbers. Metrobank, we're seeing that after the numbers have been released, good numbers, it has been slowly trekking up. So we're seeing actually a reversal move. We mentioned Metrobank, Union Bank, Wilcon last week, and so far it is still on that trajectory. Union Bank, though, hasn't moved up, still at 75 areas. Metrobank slowly inching up, but just a slow up. Let's read through the numbers and the data coming out with these two banks. No, okay. Metro Bank here has released their numbers already. We're gonna also take a look at PLDT and Globe, which are reporting numbers for this month of August. Okay, so August is a ghost month. We're also in a ghost month, so be aware that resistances would probably be met with rejection. Okay, so Metrobank posted a 33% growth in first half net income and also recording a 95% year-on-year increase in second quarter 22 profits. Download natin. Just let's read the releases, press release from Metrobank itself. So here, just the rough numbers, what we know about them is that they have earned 15 billion pesos in the first half. Earnings surged 7.6 billion for the second quarter. Performance was across the board, faster loan expansion, improving interest margin, robust fee income growth, stable costs, lower provisions amid a healthier asset quality. You've got President Fabian D saying that we are seeing businesses and economic activities accelerate. We are focused on actively managing our risks, and you can see that our gross loans continue to grow 9% towards 1.3 trillion pesos, led by a 12% growth in corporate and commercial lending, 16% increase in gross credit card receivables. Asset quality with NPLs declined to 7%. Total loans stood at 2% for the entire ratio, 1.9% the first half, down from 2.3% a year ago. So we're really seeing a healthier balance sheet for Metro Bank. You've got less NPLs, and you're also seeing that their provisions, they have further trimmed it down by 46% in the first half, with their NPL cover still staying strong at 196% to protect the bank against market risks. Meanwhile, total deposits continue to grow at 2.1 trillion pesos, 13%. CASA deposits still climbed 10% to 1.5 trillion pesos from a year ago, resulting in lower funding costs. As net interest margin recovered to 3.4%, that helped us increase our income towards 39.8 billion pesos. So basically, the story of this bank is net income increasing significantly because of lower funding costs and higher interest rates going forward. Non-interest income went up by 8% the first half, driven by an 80% jump in fees and other non-interest earnings. We managed to post 3.4 billion pesos profit from trading income from strong customer-driven flows. Amid a rise in the bank's transaction volumes, operating expense remained in control, staying flat at 29 billion, backed by ongoing efforts to improve operational efficiency. We are seeing revenues alongside stable costs, leading to a rise in profits towards 25 billion pesos. That's a very good number for Metro Bank. And taking a look at it, consolidated assets so far is 2.7 trillion pesos. It is the second largest private universal bank. Total equity of about 300 billion. Their balance sheet remaining strong, standing at capital adequacy ratio 17%, common equity tiers 16%. So interesting numbers coming out for Metro Bank. Let's see what the results have been. Since the results were shown, we can see that since August 2, it has been so far rallying over the last 2 days. No, so about 48 pesos has become a higher low. If you look at it in the 15-minute chart for Metro Bank, ever since earnings, the market was generally happy. No, so there has been those rallies, and we could argue that people are buying up some Metro Bank shares owing to that good report. 47 higher low, 48 higher low. It's doing 48.95 now, but we are clearly seeing a stair-step ladder here for Metro Bank, a positive reversal, and only met with a few resistances. Perhaps resistance here about 54 pesos, 52 pesos. A break of 50, I think, is possible to hit somewhere here about 52 to 54 to just basically trade within the mean of about April and May. Where it was trading at in the past. No, nonetheless, I would assume that people, after seeing those numbers, are pretty ecstatic, or not ecstatic, but happy to see those numbers. So, pretty strong growth for Metro Bank in a very difficult, challenging year. No, so yun, actually very good numbers for Metro Bank. Where is it currently traded at? Metro Bank, like all the banks, we can go to the stats here. Let's just analyze that. So financials. Okay, so Metro Bank is the top two with about 3 trillions, 2.7 trillion. So those are interesting numbers to pick up from their data. The consensus for Metro Bank, you've got consensus rating is an average target of about 64 pesos. So high target price of about 30%. You've got that as consensus. In terms of fundamentals, let's take a look. All right, so your price to book ratio for Metro Bank is traded at 0.73. That is a discount versus its book value compared to your BDO and BPI, which are both trading at 1.2 and 1.4. So even at book value, Metro Bank can actually personally go another 20%, no, from about 49 towards 50 plus, if the market will pay for that book value per share. So we'll see if the markets can do that after the numbers have been released. But good numbers for Metro Bank may actually inspire as well GT Cap values to emerge. No, so GT Cap, which is also the conglomerate that owns Metro Bank, is still trading here at about 450 pesos with a support somewhere at 439. So assuming Metro Bank does increase towards 54 or 52, we may see a revaluation on GT Cap owing to Metro Bank's results to rally perhaps from 440 to at least 500. So you still have these potential trading opportunities, perhaps with Metro Bank and GT Cap owing from those results. Let's take a look on let's analyze. No, so from the banks per se, Metro Bank has released. We haven't seen the other results, so we'll wait for that. But generally speaking, the cheapest from a price to book value is still PNB, followed by East West here, China Bank here. Sorry, this one, SecB, and China Bank. So you've got a lot of companies in the market trading below price to book ratio. The only three banks listed that are above price to book is BDO 1.2, BPI 1.4, and Union Bank 1.55. So Union Bank has been I think Union Bank is more a function of the acquisitions, as we've seen recently. Union Bank getting Citibank client assets. So we have to see what the new asset pool of Union Bank after those mergers and acquisitions have been. So this could be technically hindi pa na-fix yung Union Bank numbers here. So I'm not sure if it's really above price to book ratio at these levels of 75. Okay, so price to earnings. Well, most banks are generally healthy, and the yeah, and so Metro Bank at 49 with about 5 pesos is trading at about 9.87 times multiple. That is still very low compared to historical numbers. So the way to see it is how long has Metro Bank been low? So Metro Bank price to book history. Take a look at their valuations over the last couple of years. This is not the Metro Bank we're looking at. Metropolitan Bank. We'll see if we can get a price to book historical for Metro Bank. Charts, financials, ratios. Generally speaking, most of the banks as a whole was sold down because of the fears that the COVID-19 pandemic would have brought their NPLs very, very high non-performing loans. But we can see from the numbers that that was not true. So there would be the opportunity for a re-rating on your banks per se. Here, we can see from the return on equity of Metro Bank, you've got about decent average of 7% return on equity for the last 5 years. More importantly, no, Metro Bank has been paying dividends over the last few years. So let's take a look on whether Metro Bank indeed will pay dividends for the next couple of years. So last year, Metro Bank here made a payment of 2.2 per share. And here, 2021, they did pay 4 pesos. I'm not sure how much they will pay for this year, but owing to those profits, we should be on the lookout for the company to actually pay somewhere in the zone of about 2 pesos or kahit 1 peso. Here in 2020, during the hardest times, it paid 1 peso. Here in 2019, they paid 1 peso. Here, 2018, they paid 1 peso. So they have a habit of paying some huge dividends. So we'll see if they will pay at least a peso for the next year, no, for owing to that profit for this year. What else should we take a look at in the markets? Okay, so other than the banks reporting good numbers, generally good numbers, we've got PLDT. PLDT just recently shared their report. Let's go to the PLDT Investor Relations right now. I'm not sure if it's already uploaded. 2022. Here. 1Q to. Baka mas mabilis yung mga news reports. First quarter. So this is what's been happening with with PLDT. So far, PLDT and Globe have been fighting the fintech field, and with PLDT raising $200 million to expand PayMaya and the Maya Bank. So what we can see clearly here is that PLDT is evolving itself more from just simply a telecommunications business, but in the fintech. I don't know if they will share the numbers for the PayMaya so far, no? But yun, core income remains great. You've got 8 billion core income, 46 billion revenues. Pretty much a strong a strong number for all the telecoms as a segment. Your EBITDA has risen already. Growth drivers, let's just read through the first quarter, but they will echo the same for the second quarter. Don't know why wala pa eh. Pero around August. So maybe next week we'll see, no? May numbers na tong TEL eh. TEL and Globe are reporting this August. So most of the companies will be reporting this August. Tingnan ko nga kung nandito. Ayun, material information, PLDT. Dito na siya. Cash dividend declaration for all their non-convertible redeemable preferred stock. Oh, by the way, SMC did pay cash dividends already. Yung food and beverage paying 66 cents, no? The San Miguel Food and Beverage. Take a look at PLDT. So the big names that are providing earnings and cash flows for the PSEI is PLDT and Globe. Take a look at the dividends. Okay, they still continue to have this 28 pesos, ex-date August 15, record date August 18, payment date September 5, just the same as last time. Ito, 47 and 28, that would be quite huge. That's about 75 pesos for PLDT. 75 pesos for this August alone. So they gave a huge cash div versus last year. That's positive. Perhaps that's the reason why PLDT is rising quite a lot, no? Look at this. It's rallying from about 1.7 towards 1.755. So we think that the market obviously has picked up PLDT on account of the dividends that is expected to come this August, August 18 till September 5. We do expect the market will trade this upwards due to those dividends in the short term. Plus, every year naman, stable cash flows. So let's just go through the fast kahit first quarter. First quarter revenue growth drivers, fiber. So mostly marami pa rin broadband, mobile data continue to go up. 5G latch devices is up 337. You're seeing data revenues is up 80%. Data revenues is up 8% with a 79% revenue contribution. Whoa, okay. Cloud licenses, data center rack. So mostly connectivity and digital transformation of the Philippines, continuous, making strides. What else should we know about PLDT? Okay, Smart is the operator to beat in the Philippines when it comes to signal. This is their current rebranding, which is their bank, the fintech Maya. The new Maya app seamlessly integrates digital banking services powered by Maya Bank, such as savings and credit, PayMaya's e-wallet, cryptocurrency. We'll see if that can grow to $1 billion to $2 billion. I believe that their venture cap was, they were being priced at a unicorn valuation. So we'll see whether that lives up to the promise. But I am bullish also on what these two firms are doing, both PLDT and Globe, in the fintech space for the Philippines. Okay, so bullish on that. You've got a stake on a potential upside field in the fintech when you're owning shares of PLDT so far. Okay, consolidated services reaching all-time highs, 46 billion. So we would likely see the same types of revenues for this quarter. And that's good, no? From 2020, from 41, stable, 45, 46. So stable revenues, record high fiber connections. All right. First quarter of 2022 was up 25% year on year. Fiber only was up 74% year on year. Tremendous gains, so 4.7 billion and 2.7 billion in revenues. So this is the high growth place. Potential for under-penetrated market. Household penetration so far is 20%. Home broadband has become essential to consumers under the new normal post-COVID, the next normal. So improve installation capability, unparalleled network quality. These types of numbers will inspire everyone who's been investing in telecoms. So the PLDT shareholders would be happy seeing these types of numbers. Okay, interesting data. You can take a look. Data broadband. So PLDT, 79% of their consolidated service revenues today are all about data and broadband. Mobile data, 17.5 billion. Home broadband, 11.9 billion. Corporate data is 6 billion. ICT is about 1.3. You add it all up, that's magkano to? 36 billion. So that's where it is, 36.6. Amazing. So basically, the Philippines PLDT is more of a data broadband play. Obviously, wala na tayong mga phone calls masyado, voice, SMS, maliliit na siya. Voice, SMS, and international. Okay, so everyone's paying for mobile data. That's the bulk, 17.5 billion, and home broadband. Okay, so the broadband is still growing very tremendously here. Total subscribers mobile of PLDT is 70 million. On that 70 million, you've got 67 million prepaid, and then about 2 million postpaid subscribers. So marami pa rin cellular prepaid than postpaid. Mobile broadband, 1.2 million. Broadband subscriber base, let's take a look at these. You've got, in the first quarter 2022, your gross is about 167,000 subscribers for that quarter. Ano to? 693,000 fixed broadband. Fiber only has been 1,128 net adds. Monthly average total gross connect and migration partly impacted by Typhoon Odette. Mobile broadband has been growing from 236 fixed wireless mobile broadband, net adds 180K. So behind these service revenues masks the tremendous growth of your fiber and household broadband. So it's growing pretty well. How much is the PE ratio today of your company PLDT? PLDT today at 17.55. Let's take a look at those stats here. Stats muna tayo. So TEL is part of your communications. So nasa service industry. PLDT here is trading at, for the 12 months, PLDT is one of the leaders, up 40% year on year. You've got good resiliency on average versus the rest of the communication sector. Your shares are being traded today at which price to earnings? PLDT trades at 12 times. So they are paying, of course, a lot of dividends. They are paying, let's see, how much did they pay for this year? So far, they're paying 75. If you add maybe another 30 pesos, so 100 pesos. But 75 divided by current 1755 is already 3.5%. So that's not all. Obviously, next year, by March, they usually, so ito, they paid na parehas, no? 75 plus 42, 100, how much? 75, 77, 117. So they are giving a good yield. So I would say a lot of people who are holding their PLDT are still happily holding it. You don't have much sellers here. So still strong for your TEL. What's lifting your PLDTs is really their dividends. Speaking of dividends, we did have Meralco recently falling down. You might actually take a look at this since it has fallen towards the lows of over the last 6 months. No, the recent low is just 309, and we haven't seen it go below 300 since the pandemic. No, since 2020, 2021. Meralco has stayed above 300. So we would assume 300 is your first support. And at these levels of 316, how much dividends do we get when we buy Meralco? First look on Meralco, of course, it's paying 15 pesos. So let's just take a look again at Meralco. Manila Electric Company, the dividends is 15 pesos year to date. Ito, 10 and 5, so 15, 16 peso. Also going to be paying on August 18 ex-date. So a lot of people are likely buying up Meralco for that 18 pesos or, well, 5 pesos for now, but another 10 pesos for next year. So 15 pesos for the year. You've got a lot of people willing to buy Meralco for that discount. We are seeing this potential entry for tonight. Today will probably be a willing buyer for Meralco. So I've picked up some 310, even at 330 nga, I started buying 330. So at these levels, I do think that 310, 316, even as it can fall towards about 300, is a suitable entry for those who want that 5% divs. Quite comparable to your other dividend plays in the market, like the bonds, diba? So usually people would be, generally speaking, buy these names. Metro Bank, I think good numbers. Yun. So there's a potential for people to revalue some of your banks after the numbers are released. Generally low NPLs. Okay, so we're seeing a happy thing to note. Pure Gold is rallying 4%. It's still cheap though. So at 31.6, people might still be bullishly buying it up because supermarkets are generally stable cash flows, even if you ask a recession environment, which I still believe we are in. um, Generally speaking, you have a few companies going up and a few ideas lang. No? I'm not really bullish in the market. I would say dividends are great. Meralco here, PLDT, good numbers. So, and then of course Globe. Globe is now trading at 2,060 pesos. So you have these interesting companies that will pay dividends this August. So you might actually take advantage of them, given that it's just a few days and you can capture maybe a little bit of divs if you wait. Yeah. Globe is slated to pay every 3 months. So every quarter si Globe magbayad 25811. So they haven't reported what will be given on August 2022, but based on the past, it's usually 27 pesos or roughly 100 pesos a year for Globe. So 100 divided by 2,000, not bad, no? May 5% 4%. Sorry, 4 point something percent. So less than 5% because there will be taxes involved. 10% tax usually. So yun. Yeah, so interesting data coming out for your for this month. I think focus on dividend plays rather than dividends, and still companies that are releasing quite good numbers. So we've already noticed good numbers for Wilcon, good numbers for Metro Bank. The market right now might be bullishly buying SM, owing to the fact that here, maybe some people believe reopening means that SM numbers would have picked up. So pwede nga yan mag-rally for another 2 to 3% or kahit 5%. So just watch out because it seems like there is a short-term rally that is continuing. MWC is now 1450. That is interesting. It has been falling down since 28 here. Now at 14 areas, you might actually get an entry. So those who might want to get some Manila water here at 1450 might consider that, no? So there's different movements of the stocks in the Philippine market. So it gives you chaos, no? Chaos, mixed data. I think like some are going ahead of itself, like some companies like Monde and URC rallying towards resistance. You've got inflation still, I think, not a sure not a sure thing that inflation has peaked. The market has already priced in that maybe inflation is over. So that's just how I would say the Philippine markets today are being traded upon. Let's take a look at some of your comments or questions. Hi, what do you think of Meralco? It has tanked heavily these past few days. I bought it because electricity is a necessity. Did I do the right thing? I agree. So utilities in general, like Meralco, here about 310, 315 would be an entry point. Even from a technical perspective, we haven't seen Meralco break 300 pesos. So we think that there will be some sort of support there at 300. Should be okay. Everyone has to pay for electricity just like PLDT. So Meralco and PLDT and Globe usually are seen as utility firms. The upside on PLDT and Globe will come from the fintech, although that could be bleeding money. That's why it's interesting to actually look at how those fintech subsidiaries are doing in this year-on-year basis. So hopefully we can get more insight on how the traction in the users of Paymaya and the merchants in terms of payment volume and the take rate, if ever, that Paymaya gets on these companies. What are your thoughts on semiconductors in the long term? Semiconductors in general seems to have a difficulty. In the long term, I think talking about long term, I'm talking just simply about a year. So I think year on year outlook for PC shipments are going down. So there might be a slowdown. So I would be very cautious on semiconductors as a whole. So any rallies on semiconductors, in my view, might be just short term and not really. I'll be careful because the shipments of laptops, the sales of phones, smartphones aren't really doing so well. Yeah. So I think for now, August 4, make sure to look at the incoming dividends because most dividends are coming out X dates, August 18. So from now until maybe next week, I would assume that dips on PLDT would be tempered. There will be a lot of buyers, caution downside yan. PLDT, Meralco would have limited downside at least week on week. There will still be buyers for the div. Same for Globe. And then take a look at companies like yun nga, stock specific corporations that are reporting generally better than expected results. So I think like the market may be happy to see Metro Bank's results. So I think tempered yung drop niyan. If ever the markets go chaotic, 48, 47, there might be a buyer for PLD for Metro Bank. And then what you want to see is the other banks also reaffirm their guidance. So hopefully it's not just Metro Bank doing well. I hope that the entire sector is doing well. That will re-rate the entire financial sector. And if the financial sector as a whole can push the markets higher, that's good for the PSEI in general because the PSEI needs to hang on to some really, really good corporate profits. We did get good corporate profits from Wilcon. I suppose the market seeing Wilcon Depot's numbers prompted them to re-rate even if hindi pa lumalabas yung results ng Pure Gold. So my guess is that yung inflation is peak theory. I wouldn't be too yun nga, hindi ako masyadong sigurado doon. Yes, I've seen our oil prices go down. It has trickled in. Bumagsak ng konti yung gasoline per liter from about 80 plus, 84, mga 77 nowadays if you go make your magpagas man kayo. So I think that's helpful, but it isn't really exactly telling us that inflation peak is over. For all we know, another month and 2 months pass, akyat na naman ng 80 pesos. So what would the results be for consumer spending? So I would go mixed report, and if you are bullish in the market, stick to the dividends. Okay, so that's it. Bye bye. Salamat. See you again next week.